Let's talk about vocals. Let's talk about what I like about vocals. Well, vocals are always a big challenge for me, but I do have my preferences about what I like and what I want to get out of them. It all starts with the performance I have on tape and how is it coming to me. So the first thing I do, I try to control the gain structure. I try to look at the gain. Is it compressed enough? Is it too compressed? Look, if it's too compressed, I can't change it. Sometimes when it's really hammered heavy, it's actually a good thing because that sound's already built in. But a lot of times the problems I have is when the vocal is all over the map level wise. So the vocal is all over the place and I have to try to make it make sense. I don't want to just slap a compressor on it in Pro Tools and then use a limiter to L1 it, because then when it really starts to jump in level, it just sounds completely destroyed. So it becomes a lot more work. I like to go through the vocal file itself and try to even out the bumps. If a vocal has really got peaks in it and really all over the level wise, then you can't use like a good limiter. You can't use something that's going to give you a sound. What I like to do is to flatten out some of the big peaks, bring up some of the valleys, make it more of an easier ride. Then I can use my super old school Blue 1176, which is a Blueface 1176. I can use that, which I have 4 of. I can use my go-to on that, on the console, on the insert. Now, going to tape, going to the console, I may actually use my Blue plugin, my Blue compressor plugin, and the hardware. I may use them both. Sometimes I use them both, and it really works great. Sometimes I just use an L1, an L2, or an L3 just to bring the level up. But generally, I try to just adjust the gain structure of the vocal so it's hitting me. Now, because I'm using an old piece of gear, because I'm using the console, it's going to bring up some low end. The compression brings up some low end. So what else do I like to do? I want to pre-EQ it. I want to pre-EQ it. So if I think that the EQ I'm going to go to on the desk, right, isn't going to be enough, I'm going to roll up some bottom, I'm going to add some top. But for me, the vocal sound I like is using the EQ on the desk into the compressor, which makes a really good sound, which is the sound I like. Obviously, the lead vocal is the first thing I go after and fix levels and try to make it make sense. Because if you do your homework, then it just works better because it never comes perfect. If it comes perfect, great. And then with the backgrounds, it's the same thing. All the vocals, it's the same thing. Go through them. Another important thing I try to do is fix what happens when I compress it too much. Now, a lot of times I'm using these compressor plugins or my outboard compressor, and one of the artifacts I get, or the biggest artifact I get, is the breathing, is the big gasp. Like you get a vocal that starts with a big breathe in, a big suck of air. You're like, whoa, that's as loud as that line. So we degasp it. That's what I call it. Which basically means cut away all the breaths and lower them 9, 12 dB. And you're doing that because the compressors you're using are compressing that much and bringing it up even more. Now, some singers are really heavy breathers. Now, that's part of the sound, right? But I don't want it to be so over the top. When I'm listening low, I really hear the breaths. So that's another part of vocal, correction.